Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have the President launched brainstorming meetings on the Djibouti economy. The inauguration is of the new licensed micro-business incubation centers. For the international scene, Theresa May requests a new postponement. Welcome to our newsroom. The President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, launched this morning an important meeting of reflections on the Djiboutian economy. The meeting is held in the presence of all the members of government, close collaborators of the President, and high officials of the country. The economic think tank took part in the participation of international experts from diverse backgrounds, such as Donald Kaberuka, former president of the African Development Bank. Vera is the executive secretary of the United Nations African Economic Commissions. Idris Jala, former CEO of the PIMANDU. Ali Michaels Mansour, former finance ministers of Mauritius, and the country's directors of the World Bank. The performance of the Djiboutian economy, which is in line with the 2035 vision is initiated by President Guelleh, will be on the agenda, as well as the place of the Djiboutian economy in the region. Is the 2 days exchanges between Djibouti officials and the international experts will help identify the best ways to translate growth and investment into the economic transformations for 2 days. This member of the government will benefit from exchanges and discussions with international experts to boost the development prospect in our country and maintain the growth courses. The Minister of Finance, Ilyas Musa Dawale, gave a detailed presentation on the situations of the Djiboutian economy, the performance of the Djiboutian economy, which is in line with the 2035 vision initiated by President Guelleh, will be on the agenda, as well as the place of the Djiboutian economy in the regions. The meeting will benefit from exchanges and discussions with international experts to boost the development prospect in our country and maintain the growth case. For his part, Prime Minister Abdelkader Kamel Mohammed welcomed the international experts who take part in the meetings of reflections on the economy. The councils of the international experts will bright the executive Djiboutian to improve the performance of the Djiboutian economy, which is in line with the 2035 vision initiated by President Guelleh, will be on the agenda, as well as the place of the Djiboutian economy in the region. The meeting benefit from exchanges and discussions with international experts to boost the development prospect in our country and maintain the growth courses. The opening of the reflections on the Djiboutian economy, the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, gave a speech in English on the organizations of the sessions and its objective. Listen to the Head of State.
So allow me to briefly share a few thoughts on the issues that bring us together today. As most of you know, we had a similar gathering 3 years ago that resulted in several reforms, such as the protection of property, rights and consumer rights, contract enforcement laws, and corporate governance, which are essential ingredients for creating a business-friendly environment. In that same spirit, I hope we can address some of our current challenges head on today and tomorrow and come up with the right solutions. A lot has been said about Djibouti and our many advantages and on the progress we have made sometimes in very difficult circumstances. However, despite the fact that we have capitalized on some of our more obvious assets, a lot remains to be done. This in no way minimizes our progress. It simply shows how ambitious and impatient we are to reach our full potential. Yes, we have tackled the infrastructure gaps, but we have yet to translate that fully into economic transformation. How do we address the fundamental issues that are still crippling our development without setting aside our values? How do we encourage innovations and wealth creation in our country and within our region? How do we make the most of what we have while making the right choice for the future? For all those reasons and many others, one of the most urgent tasks facing us is to defocus the resources currently available on productive investment so that they can boost productivity gains, create the right jobs, improve the supply of services to individuals and businesses, and contribute to our economic transformation. Today, with all of your inputs and advice, I hope that we can start to tackle the main obstacles we are faced with, including those involved with us making some not so much thought, though tough choices, but courageous ones that will help us leapfrog those challenges. I look forward to our discussions and wish you a productive couple of days. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
After the various species projections were made, first Abu Bakr Umar Hadi presented this ports and free zones with a set of the ports and free zones of Djibouti, its logistics, and the role that Djibouti plays in particular in its geographical spheres. The director of the National Agency of State Information System, Mustafa Mohammed Ismail, made a presentation on the modernizations of public administration and the technology needed for its digital transformation strategy to modernize our public administration and benefit from the increased transparency, inclusiveness, and efficiency that digital technology allow to create an environment conducive to the development of administrative. The Executive Secretary of the United Nations Economic Commissioners for Africa present a title Global and Regional Dynamics, Challenges and Opportunity for Djibouti. Vera highlighted the importance of growing more, attracting some more investment to make the geographic of Djibouti space of vectors of this growth. She highlighted the role that Djibouti can play in the continental African free trade zone. The regional directors of the World Bank, Ms. Marina Weiss, also made a projection on the economic progress and development challenges of the country. This presentation is focused on the ways and means of integrating Djibouti into the global economy. And finally, John Presme present Djibouti as a financial and digital hub at the head of this digital technology will play a decisive role in the socio-economic development of Djibouti and will be essential to the success of the country's national strategy, Vision Djibouti 2035. He said, in order to foster the development of a strong digital economy that benefit everyone, this projection is highlighted the potential benefit of a digital economy. On the sidelines of this day, the delegation led by the Prime Ministers Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed proceeded yesterday late morning the officials inaugurations of a new incubation centers of micro enterprises at the Industrial and Commercial High School. The incubation centers for micro enterprises was initiated by the Ministers of National Education, Vocational Training, and the leadership of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Magele, to assist the young graduate wishing to start their own businesses. Recall that the incubation centers of microenterprises, unique in its kind, will accompany young graduates from the technical and professional trainings of MENFOP to project, design, implement, and realize their entrepreneurial project in order to lead well an innovative and creative businesses project. More generally, the theme is major challenges and at least unprecedented that launched the Micro Enterprises Incubation Center by allowing these young people to benefit from trainings in entrepreneurship, management, marketing, communications, and accounting management, and the interventions of technical experts from the businesses of the designs and implementations of an innovative business project. The provisions of SIMS premise for complete the maturations of their project, but also the provisions of equipment, technical and technological equipment. They put in contact with the investor partners, customers, and beta testers, and finally the provisions of financial capital necessary for the realization of their project. More, not that finally the inaugurations of a ceremony ended with the visit of the different rooms of the SIM centers and taking of finally the family photo to perpetuate the day of inauguration. The Secretary of State for Social Affairs, Mona Osman Aden, is explained the provisions of equipment, technical and technological equipment. They put in contact with investors, partners, customers, and beta tester. And finally, the provisions of financial capital necessary for the realizations of their project. The second edition is of the Olympic of Craft that dozens of students competing behind the permanent and banners of their respective establishments, and especially under the admitting plans and boost and applause from the officials. The officials and the representative of the partners were captivated by their discovery during these second edition sessions of the Olympiad, especially the demonstrations of the young competitor, demonstrations that have determined the businessmen to take an interest in the best project and the best achievement of the participant in the second sessions of the Olympiad for trade to get closer to the best elements of they could to study the possibility of hiring and support for expatriations to Arab Gulf countries with employment contract, and at the end that's the technical high schools and training centers, as well as the league have swept the lot of mentals and prizes objectives achieved for the Ministry of Education, because the second session has highlighted the capabilities and potential of our young, and this is in line with the presidential visions of technical education. The second national competition sessions of the Olympic trade organized by the Ministry of National Education Vocational Training as part of the National Week of Technical Education and Vocational Training ended in an atmosphere of party yesterday afternoon at the Cornish Hall. The closing ceremony was attended by the Secretary General of MENFOP, Mohammed Abdallah Mahyoub, all the senior officials and officials of the ministry, but also the representative of partners institutions who have kindly sponsored and support the MENFOP in this beautiful competition, from auto mechanics to plumbing, sanitary, where to cookings and catering. The achievement and finished product have simply conquered by the distinguished visitors, officials, and the business community were very pleasantly surprised by the know-how and ingenuity of the competitions, as well as the quality of the work made during these days of competitions at the Cornish Hall. Recall that in total more than 100 competitors from 9 technical high school and vocational training centers in the capital and regions who took part in these second sessions of Olympic trade. The Minister of Health, Dr. Jama Elmi Okiye, visited the Sheko hospitals in Balbala with the ambassador of the European Union, Adam Kulaka, to see firsthand the surgical activities carried out by teams of surgeons. Polish, the Minister of Health and the European diplomat have praised the technical achievement and outstanding dedications of the Polish missions, which has operate around 50 patients. These missions will also allow exchanges of experience and skills transfer between Djiboutian and Polish surgeons. A training trip for our surgeons in Poland in planned, and the Polish mission plans to return to Djibouti in 3 months. The Minister of Energy, Younis Ali Geddi, welcomed in his office delegations of the World Bank. The objective of this meeting was on the project of sustainable electrification and geothermal energy, 2 missions to support the implementations of this project and for the part mobilizations of private investment missions on the future restructuring in geothermals, which would be jointly with our colleagues. During this working visit, the World Bank and the EDD gave an update of the progress the sustainable electrification project. This project, part of the fight against poverty and the improvement of the electrification rate, is part of the continuations of the effort already undertaken by the government of Djibouti and its development partner. In particular, the World Bank, the ministers were satisfied by the accelerations of work and the positive development of the project, so that several households benefit from electricity, and is pleased about the assistance of the bank in the challenges of the energy sectors in Djibouti. In accordance with the regulations in force in the Republic of Djibouti, the Ministry Delegate for Trade informed private operators that the exports and marketing of small fish and reef fish and marine canals and strictly prohibit anyone who contravenes this regulation is liable to prosecutions. All administrative authorities must enforce the prohibitions that affect the preservation of the national tourist heritage. On the mornings of Wednesday, April 9, 2019, the squadron leaders, Hussein Mohammed Qayad, directors of international schools of improvement to the practice of the judicial police located at PICA 23, received in the schools a delegation led by Excellency Daniel, ambassador of the Swiss Confederation, is based in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. This international school that was officially inaugurated on March 20, 2019 by His Excellency the Prime Minister, aimed to respond to the need to improve the judicial investigations capabilities of the police forces of the country, the African continent and the Indian Ocean, especially in the practice of the judicial police and the technical and scientific police. Secondly, the delegation saw firsthand the course currently underway, including the second promotions of the international trainings course for investigations, also the trainings of the protectionists and minors provided by the UNICEF Expo for the benefit of judicial police officers, gendarmerie. Finally, the visit of the delegations ended with the exchanges of official gifts and a family photo. The leadership of the CDC organized last night the ceremonies of the feast of the Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj in the CDC of the capital. This festivity symbolizes the nocturnal journey and ascensions of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As every year, in the different of CDC of the capitals was celebrated by Christians neighborhood the right journeys of the Prophet from Mecca to Jerusalem, followed by the ascensions of Al-Mi'raj of the Prophet to the divine throne. We regret to announce the death of Mr. Umar Said Bile, engineers in the field of audiovisuals. He started his activity in August 1986 at the RTD. Then he became head of Center's radio, head of the service programs, director of communication from 2002 and 2005 to this date, Director General of the People's Palace. He was also Secretary General of the Somali Bands. He strongly contributed to the writings of the dictionary in Somali language, also member of the several technical committee in the fight against poverty, in governance, in his aspects of communication, great of the state, fathers of 7 children. He has just died that blessed days of Isra wal Mi'raj at the age of 59 years. Condolence to his family, relatives, and collaborators. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. For the international scene, Theresa May announced Tuesday her intentions to request a new Brexit postponement as short as possible to European leaders. The British Prime Minister then intends to endorse an agreement by May 2022. The British Prime Ministers want to postpone the deadline. So once again, Theresa May has ruled on Tuesday, April 2, needed a further postponement of the date of Brexit until an agreement can be endorsed by the deputies calling for national unity. She reached out to Labour leaders Jeremy Corbyn, whom she plans to meet to break the deadlock in Parliament, to intend to seek with him a formula likely to be submitted next week to the European Union. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.